As we can see, there's actually a very big difference between these two numbers. Now the question arises, what does that mean? Well, we can see obviously that the asset transactions, the financial asset transactions, vastly outnumber that of the actual GDP of the entire world. Now let's think about this. What's the difference here? Financial asset transactions are quite different from the actual GDP. The money that's put into the transactions actually remains locked to where it is, meaning it's part of owning assets as opposed to being put into production, meaning it's non-reproducible. It's about buying things that already exist and then turning around and trading them, meaning it doesn't involve job creation. It doesn't involve creating any new thing, which means outside of a few pencil-pushing jobs, it really actually doesn't do very much at all. And as a result, this capital, this money, actually becomes trapped in this process. This is a very good reason why Say's law that the capitalist will spend all of his money on finished goods and services is just simply ridiculous. Now here it is better explained by Hahn. There are resting places for savings other than reproducible assets, i.e. final goods and services. In our model, this is money, but land, as Keynes to his credit understood, would have just the same consequences, and so would old masters. It is therefore not money which is required to do away with Say's law-like proposition that the supply of labor is the demand for goods produced by labor. Any non-reproducible asset will do. When Say's law is correctly formulated for an economy with non-reproducible goods, it does not yield the conclusions to be found in textbooks. As I have already noted, Keynes was fully aware of this, and that this is why he devoted so much space to the theory of choice amongst alternative stores of value. Now what this means is that rich people, the very wealthy, the 1%, the very top of the capitalist class, whatever wording that you'd like to use, most of the wealth that they have is in these secondary financial transactions, meaning that money is trapped in there and it's not moving. Yes, its value is questionably real, but it is real social power that it wields. What does this mean? That means this money is not being spent on goods and services. In fact, it only exists in a form in which it is actually difficult to move. These are not being spent on final end goods and services. That means most of the money that the ruling elite actually has can't move. This inability to actually move the same way regular money that, say, the middle and poor and working class actually has, means the ruling class has less propensity to spend on final goods and services. Because they can't just go and get rid of those assets anytime they want. They have to wait for a particular time in which to do it in order for it to be profitable. I mean, their money's tied up. Our money as working class, poor and middle class people is primarily spent right away, which means a greater percentage of our income is actually spent on these finished goods and services. It means this Say's law is not true. The capitalist will not spend all this money. In fact, we as working middle class and poor people have a better ability to actually spend on final goods and services. A greater percentage of our money is actually spent on the economy in a real way. So if anybody was holding a view that Say's law is actually true, is just disastrous for any kind of concept of an economy. It's just simply ridiculous. Say's law wasn't true when he wrote it. And with modern capitalism today, where the amount of value, the amount of money in financial asset transactions is more than 9 times greater than the world's GDP, Say's law is borderline insane to believe in. Hey Mouse Rebel News fans, I just wanted to let you know that I've released a new ebook debunking the claims made by Trevor Loudon that Barack Obama is a communist. He made a challenge that if anybody could refute his proof that Obama is a communist, that he would stop calling him one and take his own book calling him one off the market. So if you want, head over to the MRN bookstore on lulu.com and check it out.
Hey,